start.
All right, Coach. Got back early yesterday morning. That was a crazy finish at BYU. Just kind of what did you take away from how your team was able to battle back just to have a chance at the end of the game?
Well, that's what I've said about our guys all year long. I've loved their tenacity, I've loved their competitiveness, and I've loved their heart. That's the one thing I never question about what we're going to go out there is the effort and energy they're going to put out every time they step foot on the floor, and that exemplified it the other night versus BYU.
90-88. That is not Johnny Dawkins kind of game. What went on in that game? Just the pace of it, and just how it finished too.
Absolutely, we did a lot of really good things. One thing we didn't do is we didn't defend well without fouling. They made 40 free throws. I think probably in the last decade, there's only been 4 or 5 teams in the history of college basketball that's made at least 40 free throws in a game. And so we have to do a better job of defending without fouling, still playing with the energy that we want to play with, but we have to show discipline and not put ourselves in position where we can be called for anything.
After those 2 tough road losses, how crucial is this upcoming home game?
They're all big. This is a big game because it's our next game, of course. And in this league, you don't want to continue to let games snowball. 1 lead to 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. You have to find ways to win. And so that's where we are. We have an opportunity to come back home. Like I said before, and you've heard me say this a few times this year, we have to regroup and we have to respond. That's got to be our mantra, and that's where we are right now.
Coming off the 2 losses, just kind of how is the team feeling right now after this performance? I know every game on the road is tough. I know there were slow starts, but, the offensive percentages did pick up in that game. Just kind of where do you think your team is right now heading into this crucial game?
Well, I think we've done some better things. I don't think it always shows on the scoreboard, but I do think we did some good things. I thought offensively, especially as you mentioned in the second half, I think we found some things that our guys need to continue to do going forward. I thought our pace was much better. I thought our spacing was better. And, we have to still do a better job with shot selection and some decision-making things. We have to grow in those areas, but I did think our pace was better and our overall spacing was better.
How is your team different when C.J. Walker is in the lineup?
Definitely a big difference when CJ's in the lineup as well as Ibrahima. But speaking on CJ, he makes us better. He's one of our better players. He's an experienced player. He's been with me for 3 years. So he kind of understands what I want out there. And so when he's not there, his absence, it shows. And so it's good having him back. And, of course, he's just getting back. And just like Ibrahima, they're just getting back. So in those cases, it takes some games for those players to kind of round into the kind of condition they need to be in, get their timing back. I wish that could just happen, right away, but unfortunately in this sport, that's not realistic. It takes these guys time to get their rhythm back.
Going off what you were talking about earlier, what from the second half of the BYU game do you want your guys to take away and build off of in order to get the win on Saturday?
Well, I want us to understand what it takes, the discipline that it takes to be in a game and make a comeback like that. I want them to understand, the decision making that we have to have. I want them to understand at the end the shot selection. We're in the game with some opportunities. We need to know where that ball needs to go, who needs to have that ball at that point in time. These are the things that we have to make our jump in is understanding just shot selection and making sure we understand just game situations toward the end.
Nils has been seeing a lot more playing time, especially last game. I know there was some foul trouble, but he gave you a big contribution, hit some big shots that kind of gave you a chance at the end. What have you liked about him, and how much has he improved as the conference season has progressed?
Well, he's played more in conference as it's progressed, and it just shows you, what happens when you practice, and you play the way you practice. He's been improving in practice. We've been watching him grow. Like all of our players, we always tell him, these opportunities are there for everyone. It's a long season, and everyone would have their opportunity to make the type of contribution he's making if you're ready for that opportunity. And what he's been ready for his opportunity. So when we've put him in, the way you earn more time is you're going in, you're productive, you have success in what you're doing. That gives everybody more confidence that you have more opportunity to get out there and help us. And so that's what he's been doing, and that's why you see him out there more.
A couple of games ago, your team went 28 of 32 from the free throw line. Not that statistic against BYU, and obviously make a couple more of those. What does it take from a coaching staff and players to just make a team better at the free throw line?
Well, what we have to do with our guys, and we're doing this, of course, is, of course, we spend time shooting free throws, and we try to put our guys in pressure situations shooting free throws. So that combination of putting them in pressure situations in practice, it's not the game, but it's as realistic as we can get. And we do the same thing with this, getting extra free throws up to make sure our guys understand the importance of free throws. So those are the things that we do. And then it's a matter of just guys. These guys are all good shooters. It's a matter of stepping up in those moments and knocking them down because, we believe in them. And so, and they'll do it. They'll do it. I think these are some lessons that we've learned over the last few games that we have to be better in. And I think our guys, will take pride in making those corrections.
Obviously, Saturday's game is a rematch against Cincinnati. What do you guys need to do differently than what you did in the first game? What improvements are you looking to make?
Well, they're a really good basketball team, really talented group of guys. We have to do a better job defensively against them as well. I thought, we gave them too many, easy baskets, too many easy opportunities. We have to do a better job of making it more difficult for them, when we're guarding. And then offensively for us, again, we need to take some lessons that we've learned in the last few games about just our overall pace and the spacing of how we want to play. And I think those things, we can try to correct to help us, be more competitive the next time we face, a Cincinnati team.
Ibrahima made his return the other night. Actually, that Cincinnati game, it's like he barely played. I know he didn't make a big contribution, but with his knee or whatever he hurt, is he 100% or where is he right now with everything?
He's improving. He's improving. As you know, it's a long season, and most players are going through something right now on every roster. And so he's improving. He's giving us what he has. That was his first time back, in a while. I mean, I just think he really hadn't practiced a whole lot before that game. So he comes in pretty much playing a game without having too much of practice time, no real conditioning. So that's difficult for any young player. And I thought he gave us a great effort. And that's all you can ask for in that situation. I think the more practice he gets under his belt, the more game time he gets, he'll start to round into the kind of shape and the kind of form that he was in before the injury.
Throughout the year, you've spoken about composure, especially on the road. Have you seen a maturing, though, of your team on the road, that they've adjusted to these raucous crowds and the environment of the Big 12 on the road a little bit better as the season's moved along?
I think we have. From game one, our first game on the road to our last game on the road, I definitely see improvement. I think what you've seen a team grow from not really in the contest the first game to we're actually in all the games toward the end. The first game against Texas Tech, we're right there. And, of course, we weren't right there versus BYU, but we made a comeback late and put ourselves in a position to have opportunities to be there. And so I think just that on the road with the crowds that we're going to and the energy that's in those buildings against us, I think it says a lot about our guys' growth, on our road games. But we have to be able to get over the hump and find a way to win those games. We're right there, and we have been right there in the last few games, but we have to find a way to win them. And that's just a matter of, like you said, just having that composure, making sure that execution is at the highest point it can be at that time of the game. Because anything that you do slipping up at the end is going to be magnified, as you know, whether it's a missed free throws, whether it's a turnover, whether it's a bad shot. It's going to be magnified at that point in time in the game. So we have to be steadfast to make sure that we stay, locked in and focused on the things that we have to do to be successful.
You mentioned growth. At this point in the season, what do you think is the biggest thing this team has just learned about what it's like to be a member of the Big 12?
I think the biggest thing they've learned is that, just how competitive it is from top to bottom, that there's no way you can go out there in any game and just think, okay, we should get this game right here. No, every game you've got to go out there and earn it. I don't think any team walks out there on any contest and think it's just going to be a night off. You have to go out there and earn it. Now, guys, they've learned that, and they've approached it through going through this conference that every night we have to be, we have to have our A game. If you don't have your A game, you're subject to get beat.
I know obviously you take it one game at a time and try not to look too far ahead, but you're right in the thick of things, playing meaningful basketball in the month of February. Obviously the guys know that. I know you kind of touched on it earlier. There's some parts, like if the offense can maybe be consistent at the start of the game to the end of the game, are the guys kind of seeing the big picture that, they need to kind of step it up and play their best basketball now because postseason is a possibility.
No, absolutely. We have those talks about, playing our best basketball. We're in February. Our best basketball still have been ahead of us. We've not hit the mark that I think we can hit, and so we're pushing hard to get there. Our guys believe, we believe, and we're going to keep pushing. We got to keep, like I said, keep chopping wood. We're going to keep chopping until we get it done. Because we know we're close, we know we're right there. It's that last little bit we have to get over to overcome, and and I believe in our group. I think we can get it done. We just have to keep on believing and keep on fighting, and that's what they've been doing.
In those close games, though, is there a level of frustration, though, and how do you work as coaches to channel that so that it's not defeating?
Well, I think coming from our staff, myself, and I speak for our staff, we have a great staff. They understand the importance of making sure our guys realize the opportunities that we have in front of us and how we have to go about tackling them. And, we never get to a point, in this conference, you can never get to a point where you get too beat up because it's a long conference season. If you allow, like I said, this thing to snowball, it can get ugly. I think our guys have done a really good job of understanding, taking a next play mentality, going to the next game with a fresh mindset. What do we need to do to improve? And then we move forward. Things in the past, all we taking with us is how can we improve? We're taking no other baggage because if you take the baggage and it's in these players' head and it's lingering, then, guys can have, long droughts of maybe not playing their best basketball. So we've tried to snap our guys out of it as quickly as we can and move them forward because there's no alternative in this league. If you dwell on everything you did in the past, good or bad in this league, that's a recipe for disaster.
BYU was, I guess, the first team you played for the second time. Obviously, you're going to play Cincinnati for the second time. How does that dynamic change knowing you've already played them once before?
Well, there's some familiarity. There's some familiarity being that we were in the conference together before, and there's some familiarity with what we faced this year versus them. So there's an understanding that you got an idea about their personnel, about their system a little bit more. Now, we have to refresh ourselves because it's been a while since we've played those teams. But the fact that they have, I think that they will kind of have an understanding about their guys and about, what they're trying to do offensively and defensively.
Is it as much about what they do, or is it more about what you do?
For us, it's always more about what we do. We're big on having a good understanding of what the other team wants to do because that's us understanding, and making sure that when we scout, we want to know the other team inside and out. So I think we do a great job of having our guys prepared and understanding what they're going to face. And then it's about what we do. For us, it's about, we always say we have to fight our fight. We can't fight Cincinnati's fight. You hear me say that all the time. They're going to fight their way. We have to fight our way. And we need our guys getting lost in that fight, not getting lost in how they're fighting, but our style of play. And that's kind of the way we approach it.
Is that what's so frustrating then again about the BYU game, is that it shifted to the way they wanted to play?
Exactly. It does. And you're looking back at it, I mean, you have two teams opposing each other. And when you think about sport, and this is probably life, I mean, each person or each team is trying to impose their will on the other one. And, I think that, we weren't able to impose our will. They were able to impose their will on us and end up playing their style of fight. And we got lulled into playing that game, which is not to our advantage. And so we have to do a better job of understanding that and making sure that we stick to what we do, understanding our game plan, and for 40 minutes play that style. Thank you.
You take away from that BYU game, you got behind, but the way you guys were able to battle, and all of a sudden in the final minute, the game was potentially in reach. Just kind of what was your takeaway from that game in Provo?
I just feel like we just got to play hard for the full 40. Obviously, in the beginning, we start off 0 to 10, so we just can't start off with a bad start and just come out and play hard, just how we did the last 15 minutes of the game, for the last 10 minutes.
What do you make of what Coach just said there about not losing composure, not playing the other team's game? You got to stick to what you do well.
When you're going into away games, arenas, just going in, I feel like you got to start off like you down 10 before the game start. You're going against the crowd and the team, so when you come in, you just got to stay composure with your team, and you got to know what you're going into and be prepared to fight the full 40.
After this road trip, what's kind of the attitude in the locker room right now heading into Saturday's game?
I just feel like we just got to come out with the tenacity. We got to come out ready to play. And, this is the last 7 conference games. So we have to play, not worried about the next game. We have to worry about the game that's in front of us and play like it's the last game of our life.
On that note, I mean, obviously, you keep it focused, going 1-0, one game at a time. But you're playing meaningful basketball in the month of February. You're right there. If you can get a run going, you can get yourself in that postseason mix for NCAA tournament. Is that something that you're aware of or you talk about?
Definitely something that I'm aware of. I feel like for me, just being a fifth-year senior, this is my last year. So that's something I think about all the time. But at the same time, I just try to talk to my teammates and tell them, what we got to do to make it to that postseason to where we could go to the March Madness. So right now, we're just trying to just focus on one win at a time and be prepared for whatever's coming our way.
No team wants to get blown out, but what's the frustration that comes with a lot of close losses?
The frustration is really that we're right there. Like, it's not like we're getting blown out by 20. Like, it'd be 4 to 2 point games. It's all close games. So when you lose and it's a close game, it's something you just dwell on. And it's just a lot of little mistakes. Like, a free throw is something that you could have changed. That we would have made a free throw, or maybe we would have got a box out or a close out, or don't let them shoot three. So it's just the little things that just makes it irritating for close games.
You're playing Cincinnati on Saturday. This is a team you faced before in the season. When it's a season rematch for you personally, is your mentality different, or the way you prepare for the game, is that different when it's a team you faced already?
It's definitely. I feel like with me, I'm more focused, and this is the second time we play them, so we try not to get swept because we don't know if we're going to be able to play them again. So when we go into the game, just come out with just aggression and just have in the back of our minds what happened last game, and let us fuel that for the game that's coming up.
I mean, you guys have showed that you're competitive in the Big 12, obviously. There's really just 2 games that really haven't – you've been in every other game. And just kind of knowing when you were just kind of touching on it, whether it's free throws or slow starts or different things sometimes, if maybe it goes the other direction, you could have 2 or 3 more wins right now. So how does the team kind of feel? What do you need to do to turn the corner to start winning these close games?
I feel like just start off with our preparation every day. Just come in and practice, and we have to lock in on what the coaches and tell us, and really just buy into what the coaches tell us. Most of our coaches, they have 50 years plus of just basketball knowledge, so we just have to buy in. And I feel like when our team buys in, and we already have a lot of close games, so once we lock into what they tell us to do, then I feel like we should be in a good position.
How does having C.J. Walker back make this team better?
Just his experience is another guy. I know CJ so very well, so he's an experienced guy. He's been with Coach Dawkins, so he knows what he needs. So when he comes in, I feel like he fulfills what Coach Dawkins is looking for, and other guys look into what CJ do, and they try to produce just like him. But when he comes in, he brings aggression, his rebounding, and just his experience on the court.
How crucial is this Saturday's game, especially being that you guys are back at home?
It's very crucial because we just took two losses, 2 close losses. So I feel like, and plus we lost to them in the first time at their place. So now they're coming to our place, and we got to defend home.
Speaking of that game at Cincinnati, is that one maybe a little bit more frustrating? It was kind of reverse script as some of these games you played because you dominated in the first half. You had a big lead at halftime, and obviously they chipped away in that second half and won. Is that one especially frustrating, knowing that was a game you felt like you should have had?
It definitely was frustrating, but that's something in the past, and I'm use that frustration for that game to this next game.
Coach has talked about the deep bench. What's it like to see a guy like Nils step up and have a good game against BYU?
It's definitely good. Niels, he comes in practice. He works every day. He gets his extra shots. So when his time came, he was prepared for it. So that's what I can salute Niels for that. And we stay in contact. I try to talk to him all the time. Just be ready, and he talks to me. So we really just feel each other. He feels the team. So he does what a PG should do, and I think he was ready for that.
How hard is it to be ready when maybe you're not getting the playing time?
I feel like that's just the mental part of it, just being ready. But that's why we're a team. We talk to each other. I've been in that position before, so I try to give my feedback. He's taking it in well. As you can see, when he came in, he was ready to play.
You guys managed to, fight back in the BYU game, make it really close. What about that second half performance do you need to build off of in order to get the win on Saturday?
Whatever coach said and whatever we said in the huddle, the last 5 minutes that made us do that, we have to start like that in the beginning of the game and not get down 0-10.
As Coach said, at this time of year, every player is kind of dealing with something. Diallo had to miss Texas Tech game. He was back. CJ was out for a couple games. Shamari, I saw you go down, maybe grabbed your ankle. How are you feeling?
I'm a little banged up, but this is my job, and what I'm saying, I have so much love for the game that everybody on the team, they try to fight through the injuries, but depending on the person and how they feel, it's just situational. But everybody's fighting through it, and everybody wants to play, so it's not like people want to sit out. It just happens to be that so. But we banged up, but this is basketball. We ready to go every day.
Back home, how important is the home crowd as a part of the emotion of a game?
It's very good. They bring us the energy when we make highlight plays, and they keep us going. But it's good to be home, and I feel like it gives us the energy to defend home because we got people that we're playing for in the crowd, and our families and our coaches and our team.
Knowing the path you have to take to potentially get into the NCAA tournament mix, you got to protect your home court, as you said. Is this kind of like, are you doing this? Is this like a must-win game coming up on Saturday?
Yeah, definitely a must-win game. But every game is must-win from the last 7. So yeah, we just come in and just be ready to play.
Appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
All right, thank you.
All right, Jaylin, you guys, obviously got behind at BYU, but then before you know it, you're battling back, you're forcing turnovers, they're hitting big shots, and then all of a sudden it's a game there in that final minute. What did you kind of take away? Obviously, a loss is a loss. You're not happy with it, but what are some of the positive aspects you can take away from that game at BYU?
I feel like we kind of leaving too much in the tank. I feel like we have to start the game off how we finished it. Point blank period. There's no excuses of starting a game like that when we can finish the game like that. So why not just take care of the game in the first 36 minutes and we wouldn't be in that predicament the last 4 minutes.
Credit to this team that it's in a lot of games, but what's the frustration in that, knowing a couple more free throws, defensive play, and you're on the right side of these?
It's frustrating because we beat ourselves. We out there on the court. I feel like we gotta be able to finish those games. I feel like we 2 plays off, but I can't keep repeating the same thing. We 2 plays off. You know what I'm saying? We have to make sure we focus up and finish those games, finish those free throws, and all that starts in practice and with mental preparation.
With those 2 tough losses on the road, how crucial is this upcoming game? Like, do you guys view this as a must-win game?
Yeah, I feel like all these games are a must-win. This next game is most definitely a must-win, especially with us coming within the last little bit of the season. I feel like all these last 7 games is a must-win.
You guys have obviously proven that you're competitive with all these Big 12 teams. Obviously you can look at different facets of these close losses. Maybe, like he was saying, like you do this or do that free throws or whatever, the result is different. I mean, do you guys kind of feel like you're really close to turning the corner and maybe have your best basketball ahead of you where, you put all facets of a game together from start to finish, you can get on a run here?
I most definitely feel like we're right there. Like Coach Dawkins always say, that last little bit is always the hardest to get. I feel like when we get that last little bit, the sky's the limit for this team, point blank period, in my opinion.
You just heard Omar say of Nils, you got to be ready when your number's called. What did you think of his performance against BYU?
I'm most definitely proud of that kid. I challenge him every day, whether it's me getting in the weight room more than him or me getting up more shots than him. That kid come in every day and he work his butt off, and I'm proud of him. He was ready when his number was called.
With only I believe 7 games left in the season, just what have you learned about what it's like to play in the Big 12 so far?
That is physical. You have to have a lot of mental toughness to finish those games out and also play in this league. So you got to be able to bring your A game every day. If you don't, it can be embarrassing.
You guys are playing Cincinnati for the second time, just like you played BYU for the second time. Did things kind of change maybe now that you've played a team before? Like, do you kind of know, how to defend certain guys? Is there something that's maybe a little bit different in terms of preparation, when you've played a team once before?
It's most definitely different when you're playing a team 2 times. You're preparing for them twice, so you kind of already know what they're going to do. We also got to prepare for that they're going to try to put some wiggles in their plays and things of that sort. So we just got to stay locked in and just play our brand of basketball.
How do you think the team's changed from a maturity standpoint as it's gone to different road venues? It seems like it's progressed since that first game especially.
It's most definitely progressed. I feel like we most definitely came together over these past few games. Just trying to get over that hump every game, so we just got to stay locked in and stay together.
Coach Dawkins and Omar, we're just talking right now in the season. Everyone's, kind of dealing with something. For you, how are you feeling physically?
My body feel great. It don't matter if it feel 70%, 60%. I'm going to go out there and play the game, so it don't matter how my body feel. I always think I feel great.
You're playing meaningful basketball here in the middle of February. I mean, that if you can put together a run here in this final 7, you can put yourself in position maybe to get in that bubble for the NCAA tournament. Is that something you're aware of, or maybe the guys are talking about, how important this final stretch is going to be for you guys?
Most definitely we think about those things. We just got to take one game at a time. I have no doubt in my mind that we're going to make the NCAA tournament.
What does it mean to have C.J. Walker back in that lineup?
It means a lot. He brings a lot of athleticism and a lot of experience coming back off of him coming off with his injury and things of that sort. So I think it's great that we have him back. He come in and get some big rebounds and also get some tip-ins and things of that sort. Bring a lot of toughness to our team.
With the next game, Omar was just talking about protecting the home court. What are your thoughts on that?
We got to protect home court. Like I always say, you don't want nobody to come in your house and take your things. You want to just let them do that. So that's how I feel about basketball, the same way. You don't want nobody to come in your house and just beat you like that. So I feel like we got to protect home court.
UCF and Cincinnati have, kind of been rivals, at least on the football side of things. You've played them once before. I know this is your first year here. Are you seeing maybe a team in the Big 12, whether it's Cincinnati or someone else, that might be developing into a rival for the basketball program?
I
Or
would
too
say
early?
I would kind of just say since both schools played in the AAC, I think that that bring a lot of battle into it with them in Houston as well. With how we play, I think we bring a lot of toughness to this league. So I most definitely see rivals in that standpoint.
You just mentioned C.J. Walker brings a toughness. Do you think this team needs to be tougher, especially in the final moments of games?
Yes, I don't feel like it's more physical toughness. I feel like it's more mental toughness. You know, I feel like we are physical tough. We are tough guys, but we have to be more mentally tough. I think that takes a lot more than being physically tough.
On this matchup against Cincinnati, what stands out about those guys? Obviously, you played them once before. There's some players to watch. Like, what are you expecting on Saturday from them?
I expect them to come out and play their brand of basketball, with them coming out and play hard, playing with a lot of grit, crash the boards, get out in transition and things of that sort. So we just got to try to keep them controlled and keep them in the half court and things of that sort.
I think every press conference you said you want to see this team play a complete game. It's like a broken record, right? What will it take? I mean, you mentioned a couple plays away. What's it going to take for this collective team effort to get over that hump?
Like I said, I'm always take the fall for it. So I feel like you just gotta stand up. When them times come, you always gotta speak up. I know you can't do all of it by yourself, but you gotta speak up. And when you speak up, all the guys gonna follow. That's how I look at it and things of that sort. So I feel like we just gotta be better. All of us gotta be better. I gotta be better with taking better shots. I gotta be better with being a better leader. You know, I'm just trying to. That's what I feel like we're going to be able to hump. When everybody take accountability of what they're doing, I feel like that's going to take us over the hump, and we just stay together.
Good stuff. Appreciate it. Good luck, Jaylin. Thank you.
Stay off social media.